We're going to be spending the next week living with the brand new Cadillac CT4-V. First things first, we're going to take it on a quick little trip. We're meeting up with a local car guy. He used to have a Shelby 350R, sold it, but he has the OEM car cover that I'm going to buy for the Shelby. And we're going to take the Cadillac. Just got dropped off today. Drove it to and from work. Let's see what it's like on a quick little trip. Really looking forward to living with this thing for a week. First off, you can see we're in a garage right now, but the paint is this really nice green color. I'll show you guys outside in the sun. It's amazing. First, we'll start her up, and then we'll set up Apple CarPlay and get going. Just met out with Al. He sold me the Shelby 350R OEM car cover, brought his X5. He's got a bunch of other cool toys, but he sold the 350 and a bunch of other stuff because he's building a palace of a garage at home. So we're talking about that. Yeah, stay tuned for sure. We're at Continental Ferrari, and we're just kind of creeping in here. That right there is that silver 550 that I drove. That's Mike from 312 Supercars. We got an F8. Again, we're just kind of creeping by the window because they are closed. There's a GTC4 up on the lift, bunch of cars, but yeah, F8 Tributo. And the CT4-V. Driving it out here, it's decently peppy. It's got a 2.7 liter, the 10 speed. Here is the OEM Shelby 350R car cover. Decent sized trunk. Earlier we were discussing how we both really like this green paint. It's called like forest something green. I gotta look up the name again on the window sticker. So far, CT4-V, not bad. All right, 350R car cover obtained. Making friends with a new local car guy. We're gonna head home now and pick this video up tomorrow. It was a rainy day yesterday, so I didn't do much filming, but look at this paint in the sunlight right now. That looks good. We do have a remote start. Hit the button twice. That's the sound of a cold start for the CT4-V. Now again, it's a turbocharged little 4-cylinder, 2.7 liter, which also technically, well, not even technically, just is. It's the motor from a Chevy Silverado. So the CT4-V features a pickup truck engine. This paint looks so good. The design of the CT4, around back I'm not a huge fan of it. You have the quad exhaust tips down here. I like the front end styling a lot. It's nice and sharp and aggressive. DRLs turn on too when it's at night and you walk up towards the car. Updated Cadillac badge. We have 235/40 R18 tires wrapped around these pretty cool design wheels with red calipers peeking out from behind. We'll hop in, hit the button, fully start up the car. Crank the AC because it's a little toasty in here right now. Before we go any further, let's take a look at the window sticker. So it's a 2020 CT4-V V Series is what they call it now. Evergreen Metallic over black. 2.7 liter turbo with the 10-speed auto. Base price is just under 44,500. As option, just over 48,610. Let's see, what are some things to note? We have a limited slip rear differential, Brembo brakes, the 8-inch diagonal infotainment screen there with Apple CarPlay, 14 speaker Bose. In terms of options, we got a couple driver awareness plus package with, let's see, like lane keep assist and things like that. The paint is $625. Heated front seats with the heated steering wheel as part of the cold weather package. Red brake calipers was almost $600 too, and all-wheel drive was a $500 option. So just under $50,000 for this CT4-V as optioned. It's been a rainy weekend, so the car's a little bit dirty, but I've been driving it around and learning more about it, and the more time I spend with it, the more the positioning of the vehicle starts to make a little bit more sense. Not saying it's like super clear, but compared to the previous generation ATS-V and CTS-V, which everybody's gonna be thinking about, this is not it. This is a 2.7 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, single turbo with 325 horsepower and 380 pound-feet of torque. Whereas the ATS-V before, it had that turbo V6 making, I think, like 464 horsepower, and obviously the CTS-V was way more powerful, 640 horsepower supercharged LT4. This no longer is the top tier V, and that decision definitely has caused a lot of people to get slightly annoyed. I posted some pictures of this and people were like, it doesn't deserve the V badge, that's not a V. And I'm like, calm down guys. Cadillac is still going to make the track focused top tier performance one. That it should be called the Blackwing, in which case the CT4 size car would get a forced induction V6 again, and then the CT5 Blackwing, or whatever they call it, will likely have an LT4 supercharged V8 making many, many horsepowers. This, think Audi S3 Audi S4 versus the RS3 RS4. Being more familiar with Audi, that's kind of I always look in comparison with that. But here is the 2.7 4-cylinder, and it's not bad. I mean, 380 pound-feet of torque is a lot of torque, more torque than horsepower. The problem is this is also a truck engine. You can get this 2.7 liter 4-cylinder in a Chevy Silverado. It doesn't rev super high. They did design it with the knowledge that it would go into a Cadillac, so the vibration, the smoothness, and things like that had to be at least somewhat controlled, but it doesn't inspire a ton of excitement to me. It's good power, made it to a 10-speed automatic transmission. Now this one has all-wheel drive, which I learned comes with one detriment, one bad thing. Because of all-wheel drive back here, you do not get Mag Ride 4.0. Magnetic Ride 4.0 debuted on the CT4-V, CT5-V, and the C8. But for the all-wheel drive version of the CT4-V, you go with ZF passive dampers, which is a little bit of a disappointment because Mag Ride is really, really good. Now, if you get rear-wheel drive, you would get Magnetic Ride. Something else, we'll talk about inside. There's some tech things like Super Cruise and such. But again, one walk around and outside. 18-inch wheels with red calipers. 4-piston fronts, I think, Brembos. Again, I love this paint. It's not as sunny out. It's kind of overcast, but the green still looks so nice. And in the sun, it looks amazing. So this green metallic is very good. And as a V, obviously quad exhaust tips. So they did maintain that amount. So it looks sporty. Another thing, the CT5 and CT4 look so similar now, I think people are going to get them mistaken a lot. Big way to tell the difference between the 5 and the 4. The 5 has that weird rear window kink in the black trim piece. This is just kind of conventional sedan tapering down. On the inside, so this is actually exactly the same wheelbase as the ATS. 109 inches, 109.3 or something like that. Rear seat space is not great. I have my front seat where I would sit while driving. I don't think I'd fit comfortably back here at all. So again, this is more compact, sedan oriented. To finish up this video, I'm going to grab the GoPro, take you guys for a point of view drive, talk about some of the interior features, how it drives, and wrap up my thoughts on what it's like to live with the CT4-V. All right, now that we're in the vehicle, let's do a quick overview. Starting with the steering wheel here, we've got paddle shifters mounted to the wheel. They're made of metal, which actually feels pretty nice there, controlling that 10-speed automatic transmission. And then on the left here, we have the controls for cruise control, and then this vehicle has been optioned with heated steering wheel. Cruise control here, we do have adaptive, but no Super Cruise. There's a little bit of a complaint I have. Super Cruise is going to be available in the CT4-V, but not for the first model year. They're bringing it, I think, for the 2021 to the next year. As of 2020, you can't get Super Cruise, which is Cadillac's fairly advanced, almost semi-autonomous driving assist feature suite. On the right here, we've got the V mode button, which allows you to configure your driving mode to custom. So My Mode or V mode, the V button brings it directly. See a little V pops up in that center cluster. Or if we keep going down, you have Sport, Track, Snow and Ice. I've been driving pretty much in V mode, which turned everything up. You can configure it here on the center cluster. Actually, can I pull that up? It's somewhere. Settings and Vehicle and V mode. And you can set your V mode settings, so engine, sound, the track, Sport for everything else, brake response, and same thing with My Mode. It's a little more limited at that, but V mode with the button right there. Wrapped in some leather. On the center cluster here, we have two digital display screens on kind of a stacked tiered thing. On the top, it just always displays your speed, the time, your fuel range. On the bottom, you can go through with vehicle navigation stuff, phone stuff, units for information display. So with the center cluster, we have the infotainment mounted, and pretty much all I do is I plug in my iPhone for Apple CarPlay, and there's this convenient little pocket here. It actually comes out. You put your phone in, and it sets right here on the center. You can close the console, and your phone is chilling right there. Or right here is a wireless charging pad. This vehicle does have that. You have a couple redundant ways to input to this screen here. I can use the rotary knob down here. This actually also allows me to rotate through, or it is a touchscreen. And what I usually do is just pull up Apple CarPlay. Shifter here is not the most premium feeling, but you hold a little button on the left, for back for drive, forward for neutral and reverse, button on top for park. Pretty straightforward, easy to figure out. Pull back again to go into manual mode, drive there. to let the transmission do its own thing. Heated seats, lane keep assist, toggle switches here. This is so much better than the older Cadillac Q system where they try to make everything a little slider and you'd like slide the volume, try to make it go up by like 3 increments and it wouldn't do anything. And you keep sliding and all of a sudden the whole thing went to max volume and you would lose all your hearing. It was horrible. This is much, much better. I've been spending most of my time driving around in V mode because that's the sportier calibration settings for everything. And honestly, in tour mode, I didn't love, especially the transmission programming. Sometimes with part throttle responses and things in tour mode, it just felt like the transmission was getting a little bit lost and it had some strange behaviors. In V mode, it's a lot faster. Under full throttle, the red line shifts are very, very quick. So this 10-speed is definitely a good transmission. It's related to the one that you would find in like the Camaro ZL1, which is a 10-speed now. And a lot of the Chevy vehicles, especially the rear-wheel drive architecture ones, are getting the 10-speed. Paddle shifter response is okay. I'm in 8th gear right now doing 40 miles an hour, but there's just so many gears. Downshifting, I'd be like, that now I'm 3rd gear at 3,000 RPM. And it's decent. It's just so many gears. And with a 10-speed, using paddle shifters almost just becomes difficult because there's so many gears to go through. And in auto mode, I think a lot of these higher gear transmissions will skip shift. I don't know if the paddle shifters will let you do that, so you're just pulling them a lot. Regardless, in V mode, it's decently quick. I am a little bit disappointed that as an all-wheel drive equipped model, this does not come with the magnetic ride dampers, because MagRide is really, really awesome. In every application I've driven MagRide in, I'm like, this is sweet. I actually got to do a back-to-back comparison with the C8 with MagRide and without MagRide, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then the other added benefit is it does really help on rough road surfaces. It can vary your ride compliance while still being able to stiffen up and be great at handling. So handling is where this car still does pretty well. Cadillac has a great alpha platform, the rear-wheel drive, or GM in general, actually, because it's shared with Chevy. So this, even though it's positioned kind of in the S3, CLA, and BMW 2 Series segment, it's also kind of size-wise going up close to a C-Class or a Audi A4 or something like that. So it's in this kind of weird middle ground. In my mind, what I'm directly comparing this to would be an Audi S4. It would be a BMW M340i or a Mercedes C-Class with the slightly larger motor. I forget the number for that one because there's all way too many numbers there. It's, I think, facing a uphill battle given the V badge on it and the fact that people are used to V, meaning badass, very powerful, just serious performance vehicle. And that's not the point of this. Now this the sweet spot. Wait for the top tier model. That being said, see, those are decently quick upshifts. That being said, compared to my B8.5 S4, I'll honestly say I think I still had more fun driving that. It was a little more exciting. Obviously, the tech in this is way more advanced, way newer infotainment, better driver assistance feature suites, just completely newer car. But that supercharged V6 and my Audi S4 excited me a little bit more. That also being said, I liked my B8.5 S4 a lot more than the B9 S4 I drove. I wasn't that impressed with the brand new S4, which this ostensibly goes up against. So living with this car, driving it for a week, highways, commuting to work, how do I feel about it? Well, it's good. Do I love it? I have to say I did not fall in love with the vehicle. I love the way the front end looks. I like the green paint a lot. It stands out for sure. It looks really unique and it looks sporty and aggressive. The inside interior is better than previous generation. It destroys the ATS in previous generation Cadillacs. I really didn't like the ATS interior. It felt very plasticky. This is a lot more premium. The technology is way more thought out. Ergonomically, it's not quite on par with some of the competitors, but it's a lot better than what Cadillac was throwing out before. The way it drives, it makes good power, but also Cadillac, they have this thing where they don't really put themselves into one exact segment. This is like in between the S3 and S4, where you spend S3 money, but you're getting S4 size. So it's like, it's in between these two tiers of cars. The 2.7 liter makes good torque. It is not the most charismatic engine out there, but paired with the 10-speed left to its own devices, it's pretty good. And I'd say it handles decently well. I'm sure if it was a rear-wheel drive model with magnetic ride, it would also feel a little bit more crisper, a little more sharp. It's definitely a good option from Cadillac. Did I fall in love with it? I have to say no, I am not absolutely enthralled by this vehicle at the moment. That being said, I also have the caveat that my personal cars have been 500 horsepower, either supercars or extremely higher end German cars. But taking into the caveat of this versus something like, I own a B8.5 S4 for almost 3 years. In my mind, that was a great daily driver. It did everything. All-wheel drive in the winter was excellent. It was fun to drive, good dual-clutch transmission, a fun engine, great interior. I love the way it looked. This is an American version with the 2.7 turbo. I personally am very excited to see the next generation with the bigger motor for the actual Blackwing and also Super Cruise. I think if this thing came with Super Cruise, that would be a big differentiating factor between it and the other German cars. You have to find something that allows us to stand out, and nothing right now made me go, holy crap, that's so much cooler than anything BMW, Audi, Mercedes, whoever is offering. Whereas I think Super Cruise could definitely be a game changer for Cadillac because that system is supposed to be very, very impressive. That being said, would I turn down this car for another week? No, it was good to drive around. I got decent fuel economy. It would be quick when I wanted to get on it, and it was comfortable and it looked good. It's refreshing to have a vehicle like this in the garage for a week. So the CT4-V, the biggest challenge Cadillac will face is getting people to understand how this vehicle has now been repositioned, what it stands for. I almost forgot to mention the electronically boosted brake pedal actually is not bad. It has a very solid response to it. It's got some good ingredients. Mag ride available on the rear-wheel drive one, good amount of torque, 10-speed automatic transmission, limited slip rear differential. It's a good start. Can't wait to see where they take it. Can't wait to try it out with Super Cruise. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys comment, subscribe, hit that little notification bell. Thanks for watching.